In this video, we're going to talk about prime and composite numbers. And prime and composite are two categories that we can put different numbers into. A prime number is a number with exactly two factors, the number 1 and itself. A composite number is a number with more than two factors. Make sure that you write these two definitions down in your notebook and maybe try and come up with some examples throughout the video here of prime and composite numbers. So prime numbers only have two factors, the numbers 1 and themselves. So if we start listing the factors of these numbers we have on this page here, 1 times 7 equals 7, but there aren't any other numbers that go into 7 without a remainder, so 1 and 7 are the only factors of 7. And 1 times 13 equals 13, but there aren't any other factors of 13 either. And 17, it's just 1 and 17. Now you'll notice all of these numbers on the left of the line here only have two factors, the numbers 1 and themselves, so they're going to be prime numbers. The numbers on the right here, we'll list the factors of them. So 10, we've got 1 times 10, and then because of 10 that ends in a 0, I know it's divisible by 2, so we got 2 times 5 is also 10. And so 1, 2, 5, and 10 are all the factors of 10. So there's 4 total factors. Now we'll list the number of factors of 15. So 1 times 15, and then if I add 1 and 5 up, I get 6, and 6 is divisible by 3, so that means 15 is divisible by 3. So 3 times 5 is 15, and there aren't any other factor pairs that equal 15. So it's 1, 3, 5, and 15 are the factors of 15, so there's 4 total factors. And now for for 20, list the factors of 21 times 20, obviously, don't forget that one. And then it ends in a 0, so that means it's divisible by 2. So 2 times 10 is also 20. It's not divisible by 3 because 2 plus 0 is 2, and that's not divisible by 3. It is divisible by 4, though. So 4 times 5 is 20. And there aren't any other factors of 20, aren't any factor pairs. So there's 6 total factors of 20. Now you'll notice all the numbers on the right, 10, 15, 20, all have more than 2 factors. So those are going to be composite. Composite is more than 2 factors. And then the numbers on the left, 7, 13, and 17, only have 2 factors, so those are going to be prime numbers.
So this is my little tip that I like to help me remember the difference between prime and composite. So if we say prime numbers and we remember the saying private party for 2, we can see that prime starts with a PRI and private starts with a PRI. So you can remember that if you're having a private party for 2, prime numbers only have 2 factors. Whereas a composite number, that's going to be a company party for many. So again, we have the COM on composite and the COM on company. So if we're having a company party, there's going to be a lot of people there, more than 2 people. This is homework question number 1. The question is, which number or numbers below are prime? So write those in your notebook and enter them on your Google form.
Did you know, here's a couple interesting facts about numbers. The number 1 is neither prime nor composite because the number 1 only has 1 factor. It doesn't have 2 factors or any more than that. It only has 1 factor. And another little did you know tip is 2 is the only even prime number because it only has 2 factors, the number 1 and itself. 1 times 2 is 2. And that's it. So it makes it a prime number. It's the only even prime number because all the other even numbers are divisible by 2, which makes them have more than 2 factors.
So we're going to sort some numbers down here into prime or composite. So let's start with 39. Is that prime or composite? Right away when I look at 39, I'm thinking it's prime. It doesn't look like it's a number that has factors. But remember our divisibility rules. If we add the digits 3 plus 9, we get 12. and 3 can evenly go into 12. So 3 is a factor of 39, which would mean that it's going to have more than 2 factors. So we're going to slide it over here. 1, we just learned from the previous slide that the only factor for 1 is 1. So 1 is going to be neither prime nor composite. So we can just leave that maybe on the middle line here. 2, we just learned a fact about 2 as well. 2 has 2 factors, 1 times 2. So since it has exactly 2 factors, it's going to be prime. It's our only even number that will be prime. 25, looking at 25, it's not an even number, so I might automatically think it's prime. But we have to go through our divisibility rules. Even though 2 can't go into this number, we can think about 3. 3 doesn't work. 4 doesn't work, but the number 5 does. Since 25 ends in a 5, 5 is a factor of 25, and therefore it's going to have more than 2 factors. Our number 9, this is another tricky one where you might look at it right away and think prime, that's got to be prime. But if we think about all of our divisibility rules, we go through them, 1 and 9, 1 times 9 works, 2 doesn't work, but what about 3? We know that 3 times 3 is 9. So now 9 has more than 2 factors, and it's going to come over here to the composite side. 24, hopefully you're going to notice right away that 24 is an even number. Therefore, 2 times 12, 2 and 12 would be factors, as well as 1 times 24, as well as 4 times 6. Lots of factors for 24, so it's going to stay on that composite side. 13. I believe on a previous slide we learned that 13 is a prime number. The only factors of 13 are 1 and 13. So that's going to have exactly 2 factors. It's going to go over on the prime side. And our last number is 17. It's another prime number. The only numbers that can be multiplied together to get 17 are 1 and 17. So it has 2 factors. It's going to go on this side.
Homework question number 2. True or false? 1 is a prime number. Write your answer in your notebook and submit it on your Google form. Homework question number 3. Which of the number or numbers below are composite? So choose the composite numbers. Remember, composite numbers have more than 2 factors. Write them in your notebook and select them on the Google form. And finally, homework question number 4. List all of the prime numbers from 1 to 30 in your math notebook. How many are there? Enter this number on your Google form. So you'll need to list all the prime numbers. Remember, prime numbers only have 2 factors, the number 1 and themselves.